Welcome to Wesley Impact. On the show today, I'm going to be sharing about the message of Jesus when he visited his hometown. We catch up with our ministry and mission teams as they spread Christ's love in action throughout our centres and communities. And we meet a man on a mission of his own to bring light into some of the darkest places. Si Tao Tao, who I'm going to call Set, because that's what everybody else knows him as, is a 60-year-old maths teacher in Sydney's West. When he's not in the classroom, Set travels in prisons throughout his homeland of Ethiopia. Over the last decade, he and his team have seen more than 4,000 people find freedom in Christ. Set, it's great to have you on the show and great to be able to talk to you.
Thank you for having me.
Look, you were one of 18 children back in Ethiopia, and you were in high school when you decided to be a Christian yourself. You say you found peace and purpose.
That's right. Almost 42 years ago, there was a great revival in Ethiopia. Under that great revival, I became a Christian. And then I got peace and joy as a result of that meeting.
And you moved to Australia, and you reflect upon your times in Africa, and you say you attended church meetings for 8 years in Ethiopia, and you say God opened the door for you to come here.
That's absolutely true. What happened was I came here to do theological training. When I finished my theological training, then I was going to go to Ethiopia, but at that time it was a communist government. Therefore, I couldn't go back. So what I did was to continue my study, and I applied for applied mathematics, and I became a teacher.
Do you think it's because your father was a prison official that you found it easier to volunteer to help people in prisons?
I'm not sure, but I think by God's providence, probably that might be the case when I realize it now.
And you had this passion in your heart. Was it building for some time to return to your homeland and help those who were in prisons? Did it build up or happen all of a sudden?
What happened is, around 15 years ago, I went to Ethiopia just to meet with church leaders, and I talked to them, and they had a lot of problems. When I heard that problems, I was overwhelmed, and I was confused what to do. And one lady, she came to the school that I was teaching, and she was talking about starfish story, and that story hit me. And then now I said, I have something to contribute, like Jesus talking to his disciples. What do you have in your hand? 5 loaves and 2 fishes. So that's what I am trying to do.
So let's just hold it there before we share more about that mission work and how it all grew into something today. Let me introduce you at this point to Matt Dolan. He's a contemporary Australian singer, songwriter, worship leader and speaker. He has a real passion to see the truth and love of God revealed and lives changed. He's chosen to sing his current single to tie in with Set's journey. It's called Help Is On The Way.
You've been hurting, you've been treated badly. You've been alive, but you haven't really lived. Well, it's alright. Help is on the way. And all those times when you just held on, and all those times when you couldn't let go, well, it's alright. Help is on the way. So just take his hand, don't let it go. Don't ask why, and don't say no. been needed, but you haven't been wanted. You've been pushed aside and made to pay, but it's alright. Help is on the way. You've been standing in the light of the sunshine, yet it feels like the pouring rain, but it's alright. Help is on the way. Oh, so just take his hand, don't let it go. Don't ask why, and don't say no, 'cause it's alright. Help is on the way. So just take his hand, don't let it go. Don't ask why, and don't say no, 'cause it's alright. Help is on the way. Oh Lord, I will trust in you. I will reach out and take your hand. You will never leave me, no, no, no. So just take his hand, don't let it go. Don't ask why, and don't say no, 'cause it's alright. Help is on the way.
To commemorate 200 years of faith and pioneering care in Australia, Wesley Mission has released a publication documenting its work in the community.
Everyone needs a little rest. Everyone needs a little joy.
For more information on today's people, today's story, you can contact us on 02 9263 5555 or email us at impacttv@wesleymission.org.au.
For more information on Matt's music, log on to our website this week. We're back with Sydney schoolteacher Seth. We'd love to talk to you. And while a lot of people you meet in prison, you're able to share something of your faith, you're also doing something far more than that. You're actually sharing faith, but actually seeing what their needs are. You're doing something about it.
That's true. Well, when I go to Ethiopia, especially in the prison, we do humanitarian aids, like supplying clothes, giving soaps and insecticides, because some of the prisons are in a hot area.
Yeah.
Therefore, they need insecticides to kill bugs. And we do sewing, we give them sewing machine so that to keep them busy in the prison. So we do a lot of training. So the government, they accepted us to do these various activities so that to keep them, the prisoners, busy and to create job for them.
Are you preparing them in a way for when they're released from prison?
Yes, while they are in prison, we want them to generate money as well as when they are released from the prison so that they can mix with the community and get some job.
Look, you talk about the need being great, and nobody could ever question that. But tell me why you do it.
Well, I came from my mother's womb naked. I'm going to go naked. So I realized that life is short. So I just wanted to contribute something to poor people. So I have got a strong desire to help them. That's why I'm doing it.
And do you feel fulfilled in that?
Yes, I'm very happy to do this because God is blessing me, not financially, but in every angle. When I do this, I'm blessed, I'm happy. My soul is happy. So that's what I want.
You talked with me when we talked previously. You used the word we when you go. And that's because you include people in that story.
That's right. I'm not claiming doing this by myself. There are some people, especially my principal at Kabramata High School. She has been in Ethiopia for 2 years, and she traveled almost 500 kilometers by car. She went through a hard time, but she saw what we are doing, and she has she make a lot of volunteer teachers as well as students to raise money by making cards.
So the school has got right behind you.
That's absolutely true.
What about the future? How do you see that working out?
Well, we are planning to extend our project, but at this stage, our ambition is not to go everywhere and do unfinished job. We try to make some sustainability wherever we go. Once they stand on their feet, then we will go to further prisons as the budget permit us.
And people are involved in it, and people latch on to supporting you?
Yes, now people are becoming aware because serving in prison is not common in Ethiopia. But now people, when they ask them if they could give me clothes, they contribute. I cannot take clothes from Australia because it's very expensive.
Yeah, absolutely.
So a lot of people, they are aware to help.
So do you buy clothes out there, and people that give you money here can actually...
Yes, I do that. And also I ask some people if they could donate clothes. And if there is no enough clothes, we buy and we distribute to the prisoners.
And of course contribute to the local economy as well when you're there, when
That's
you do these
absolutely
things.
true.
Look, it's a delight to have had you in conversation. We really want to be supportive of you and encourage people to make their contact with you and support that vital work in Ethiopia. God bless you, Seth.
Thank you very much.
It's our pleasure. We'll be right back after this.
It's been 200 years since the first Methodists met in Australia. To celebrate 2 centuries of faith and pioneering care, CEO and presenter Reverend Dr. Keith Garner takes us back to where it all began.
But we don't begin here at the heart of London. We begin in a town in the north of England.
In this fascinating narrative, Reverend Garner chronicles the history of the life and times of the founder of Methodism, John Wesley. This fresh and thought-provoking documentary takes us on a journey throughout the United Kingdom, beginning in John Wesley's hometown of Epworth.
John Wesley was born here on the 17th of June, 1703.
This 1-hour DVD travels onto his education years and beginnings of social justice in Oxford, to his final years in London. For more information on John Wesley, the man and his mission, call 02 9263 5555 or email us at impacttv@wesleymission.org.au.
There is a great need for love and a listening ear everywhere. Like our guest today, the pastoral work of Wesley Mission extends support and friendship to the lonely, lost and broken. Let's take a look at a day in the life of some of the members of our team.
Well, I work for Wesley Mission, specifically the International Congregation. My primary role is as the youth pastor of the high school and university youth group of the International Congregation. And my role there is to do everything that I can to encourage and inspire the students to love God and honour Him and to love people. I love the work that I do because I love seeing transformed lives. When I meet people who don't really have a sense of hope in their lives and they discover hope in Christ, there's no greater thing to experience than to see that happening. Because like I said, transforming lives, what better business is there? Seeing people discover meaning and purpose in their lives in Christ, not just for this life on earth, but for eternity. I couldn't give my life to any greater cause than that. Although Wesley Mission has a lot of community work and activities that it does, the spiritual aspect is absolutely key to everything that we as a pastoral team do, but also the greater Wesley Mission. For us as a pastoral team, it's integrated into all of our activities. It's what motivates us, it's what guides us. It's our ultimate aim to honour and love Christ and to love people. And I'm pretty sure and pretty confident that's what's central to why Wesley Mission does what it does.
I work with Wesley Mission in aged care services as a chaplain. My particular focus is in Wesley Home Care Services, Inner West and Western Sydney. I'm part of a team, so that means that we have other staff who are carers and coordinators who organise programs for the aged so they can age at home rather than going to care. This is my friend Maureen. I met Maureen about 2 years ago at a home care Easter function, and she came up to me at the end of the service and she said, "I'm Maureen, I look pretty good, but I'm actually not. Why don't you come and visit me?" And for the last 2 years, it's been my pleasure to actually get to know her, a bit about her life, a bit about the struggles, and a great deal about the inspiring way that she lives and overcomes the handicaps that she's got.
And it says that at times I'm quite isolated because if it's really hot, I can't go out, I don't have a car. If it's pouring rain, I don't go out because I don't want to get sick from being wet. And so, yeah, it's really good to have someone to just know that, you know, they're there and you can talk to them and that you can talk about anything. It doesn't matter what it is. Good things, bad things, emotional things, or, you know, if you're having a bad day, you can just get it off your chest and be done with it. So, to me, Gail's very important in my life, as a chaplain, but as a friend.
Now in Luke's Gospel, chapter 4, from 14 to 30, we have the account of Jesus returning to Nazareth, his hometown. And there we hear how he went to the synagogue and how he was received by the people there. Now, you can first of all imagine the anticipation that people felt. The news was Jesus is back in town. And Jesus, who perhaps at that time was living in Capernaum, the public ministry had begun, goes to Nazareth and actually is invited to speak. Now, that's the kind of thing that they would do to somebody who'd got some kind of recognition as being able to teach, somebody who was recognized as important and significant in that community. He went to Nazareth where he'd been brought up, and on the Sabbath day, he went to the synagogue, as was his custom, and he stood up and read. And it's when he read from the Old Testament, as we now call it, from the book of the prophets, and they'd all be in large scrolls. They handed the scroll to him, and he read. And he read these words: "The Spirit of the Lord is on me, because he's anointed me to proclaim good news to the poor. He sent me to proclaim freedom for the prisoners and recovery of sight for the blind, to release the oppressed, to proclaim the year of the Lord's favour." I think from the earliest story in my interview, I'm very conscious of how tough prison can be. And having spent some time ministering to people in prison, I know how difficult it is. And not only in the UK originally where I ministered, but here in Australia, in our prisons, I've found them not to be the easiest places for people to have to spend their lives. And there's a sense in which that's right. But there's a sense also in which it's difficult to really experience life and feel the support of the community around you. And so prison aid can be something of sharing the experience of visiting in prison. There's this sense here where Jesus, when he's describing what the Spirit of God does by falling upon him, it gives him a ministry where he proclaims freedom for the prisoners. It's a message of freedom. And, you know, it's a strange thing, but the words of Jesus here to the people at Nazareth is that it's in prison that you can experience the freedom. Now, I think it's more than just about prisons here. It's any experience that might appear to lock you out from the grace and light and peace and love of God is a place where God's love can be known and experienced and seen and felt. And that would certainly be true about the message of hope that he brought to people. We don't have any public recognition when we turn the pages of the gospel that Jesus visited prisons. But what we do know is that he offered a message of liberty and liberation to those people who found themselves locked in and unable to experience freedom. It proclaims a freedom that is embodied in his message and in his life to all who reach out in their need. And you know, this message was not well received. The bottom line of this story in Luke's gospel is quite clearly, oh dear me, get rid of him. And so much so that they wanted to tip him. Listen to what it says. That's better than me just saying. All the people in the synagogue were furious when they heard this. They got up, drove him out of the town, took him to the brow of a hill on which the town was built in order to throw him off the cliff. But he walked right through the crowd and went on his way. It proclaims a message of freedom to all who reach out. And that message may not be understood by everybody, may not be accepted by everybody, but it's the message that is the message of Christ to every one of us. Just as our brother knows what it is to go to Africa and to have the support of his school and his friends and his colleagues, when he goes into that place, he has to go alongside particularly men, the people that he ministers to in that prison context, alongside men who know what it is to have been rejected by their society and locked up. The only way we can handle what you've done is to lock you up and away from the rest of us. And in their context, this will be tough stuff. But in that context, God reaches out through the help of people who reach out like our brother, offering supplies, offering resources to make it possible to live life in a fuller way. Jesus offers freedom to every one of us. Our prison may not have bars on it. It may not be something that has security officers walking around and making sure the doors are locked at night. But whatever prison it is, whether we're imprisoned by our fears, imprisoned by our own actions, imprisoned by the circumstances in which we find ourselves, we can find that message of freedom. It's a message that is, if you like, Jesus spells freedom. He spells freedom to you, he spells freedom to me. And it's possible to be perhaps the freest of all people in having all the things we want around us. But deep down, we're locked in. The bolts are on the door. We can't find our way out. Well, if that's where you are today, reach out, because God is reaching out to you. And as your hand reaches his, they join together. They touch at a vital intersection. It's an intersection of hope, an intersection of peace. And at that point, we can say for sure that it offers real hope.
If you would like to know more about today's topic, or for more on Keith's message, contact Keith by writing to Wesley Mission, Post Office Box A5555, Sydney South 1235, or email impacttv@wesleymission.org.au.
Many thanks for joining us. We leave you with West Coast Eagles chaplain Paul Morrison singing a song inspired by the club's work in Cambodia. His song, Picking Up the Pieces, has helped to raise more than $50,000 to build a school in Kokong province. And until next week, goodbye and God bless.
Second-hand war, all the guns were gone, but the fight was still on for their freedom. They were still bleeding, picking up the pieces of a man gone mad. We didn't have the answers, but we gave what we had for the broken. We joined them in hoping. So tell me how I can be strong for you. Breaking my heart, there must be something we can do. 'Cause you have shown me now you can be brave for me. So brother, let me put my hand in yours as we're picking up the pieces. Sold her to the city, desperate for the money. She was so pretty, and they used her, and they will abuse
hiding